How's it going, YouTube? DMV Drakes are back at it again. This time we have a Examon deck list for you by our, of course, ever so talented, undisputed best Gallimon player, Spiderman, but this time he's mixing it up. First time out with the deck, 2 tournaments in a row, took first place in both. So Spiderman, show us how you did it.
Alright, so it's pretty simple. You basically start off with a de facto egg. You always start out with the EX3 BT-10. Basically, when you unsuspend and you have Drama or Examon on your man, you'll gain the 1K. The 1K matters so you can beat over a lot of things. I would not run the BT-10 BT-10 when they have 2 or more, you draw. But if you do need like another egg for like long grinding matchups like SatCon, then you could run that one. But basically, this is just the egg you want to go on to the most. To mix it up with the rookies, you're running 4 of the Dracomons from EX3. This is by far your best searcher for the deck because it reveals top 4. You add a green or blue Drummond and Examon. This is one of the only cards other than like Davis that can pick up and grab Examon. So you run 4 of it. The inheritable is the same as the egg where you'll just gain the 1K. So this and this can make your Examon's 17K when it unsuspends, or your Slayer Dramon like 14K. So this is just good to max out on. Next, for namesake, we have to run the starter deck, the 04 starter deck Dracomon. This is good too. It still fetches our pieces, so if we do need like a Drummon, we can play this, search our Drummon, but I would not usually play this until like I have an Examon in my hand, because this will bomb deck Examon. So yeah, this is like our second or like our weakest searcher, but we still have to run because the naming conventions of some of the champions require specifically a Dracomon. And until we get like the BT-11 Dracomon, this is just the next best thing. And next, just for the rest of my work, I'm running 2 Floodgates, Siakomon and Madoki Beta. Pretty simple, block memory, block Digicost reduction. These are very valuable. Sometimes you just be randomly checking memory boosting security, and these are very valuable to just block it. This is, when I was playing against Bloom Lordmon in one of my tournaments, I dropped both Madoki Beta and Siako, and basically they were forced to deal with it. They couldn't Digisort for free. They had to pay the full price, and they couldn't gain memory back from Bloom, so they had to deal with this. So in certain ways, this takes off the pressure from your stack by allowing your opponent to just focus on this. So this still felt valuable. In BT-11, I'm not sure how I'll tweak the ratio, but I'll try to see if I can like take out some of this Dracomon or some of these, depending on the meta. But these are just work so good. The only downside is that if you Digivolve on the EX3 Quadramons, you'll have to pay 3, but if you Digivolve onto another Quadramon that doesn't have that requirement, you just pay 2. So these are my rookie counts, and it felt pretty comfortable. Moving on to the champions, we're running 3 copies of the EX3 Blue Quadramon that gives evade for the stack. This kind of feels, some of the inheritables in this deck do get a little bit redundant, where they kind of just overlap, but this felt really good. In one of the finals, I had to play against Gallon of all things, and this was valuable because I used the evade to dodge the deletion effects, so they had to work twice as hard just to pop it. But again, for naming sakes, I run this just because you do need the evade occasionally for like your level 5s and your level 6 to have. So this is still valuable. I wouldn't put at 4 because I'm running a different Quadramon. But starting off, I'm running 4 of the green Quadramon that gives blocker. It's the same thing as this one where it's just like the overlap in the layer. So this gets blocker, this gets evade. So when you go into like an Examon or one of your level 6, they'll get blocker and evade. This is very useful, that you make sure that you don't bomb deck. So pick it up with this Dracomon or this Dracomon, to just make sure that you have the pieces that you need. Because a lot of times we're running blue memory boosts and not green memory boosts to pick up our pieces. So making sure that you don't bomb back your green pieces is a core way how to strategize and play with the deck. So we're running to the forest to make sure that we don't break this too often. And by far, in my opinion, the best level 4 of the deck is the starter deck Digimon that comes from security. This is cracked for so many reasons. One, your level 5s require you to have Digimon in your name, so this fulfilling that requirement is already so good. It comes straight out of security, so certain things like a delicate plan or BT-10 War Greymon, they'll still check and activate this effect. The only thing that dodges this is the Imperial Digimon Fire mode from EX3 that doesn't check any security. But this is still good. I've seen multiple times, you wouldn't even believe it. My opponent swung with multiple checks against the in Blue Lord. They swung with 2 checks and hit both Digimons, and they played and unbreaked my hand by letting me draw 4 cards and putting 2 more bodies on the board. So if your opponent's not careful, this can actually just steal games or percent lethal out of nowhere. So I felt at 4 it was almost mandatory because you need to make sure that you see the pieces, and if you're digivolving on top of like Madoki Beta, this will always be 2, whereas this Digimon and this Digimon will make it 3. So that's my champion lineup. I may drop down certain Digimons for other things, but this felt pretty good, just hitting straight gas. Moving on to our level 5s, we're running 4 Groundmon. For Wingdramon. This is textbook. You need to max out on this. These fulfill your requirements as a level 6 when you're jog-resting into Examon. Basically, this is a pseudo breakthrough. This is a pseudo slayer. You just need them. When I was playing in a proxy tournament against Black War Gray X, I didn't have a rookie. I blew memory boost and I still didn't pick up a rookie, but I had all my top in. So what I did is I just dropped Wingdramon. I cracked the boost, dropped Wingdramon, put him at 3, and I knew they couldn't get rid of it because it had evade, so it felt pretty safe. And then when my turn came back, I just dropped Groundramon and then ended up turning Joggers into Examon. And I already had an established board that they couldn't break. So these being 7s isn't that bad, and with the new Dracomon, you can basically, when you play a blue flare, you can gain a memory if it's in the stack, and when you Joggers into Examon, play another Drummon, you'll gain another memory since it'll reset. So you always gotta run these at 4F. Can't run any less. And then here comes the fun part of the deck, in my opinion. We're running 4 Slayers and 3 Breakdramons. These are the MVPs of the deck. Slayer Dramon is the bane of everybody's existence. If you control the board well enough and you force your opponents to swing, they'll just straight up die. Against OTK decks, this is basically the make or break of the deck, and this is just an extra level of aggression. So the way the Slayer works is that whenever your opponent's main phase starts or when either they hatch or promote from raising, you'll suspend one of your cards with Examon or Dromon in their name, and that will force one of your opponent's Digimon to attack. They get to choose, but depending on who you suspend with this effect, and who you have unsuspended can really dictate how the turn plays out. If you suspend Breakdramon, it'll force something to suspend. If you suspend Examon, he'll suspend something and unsuspend after the declaration of attack. And if you suspend Slayer, it's just a free unsuspend. This is really good. I see some people playing with 4 Breakthroughs versus 3 Slayers. I feel that's kind of bad. While this is an important card to push for aggression, this is the card that locks out games and stops people from playing. The only thing that kind of play around this is like Digicross decks like Crossheart or Blue Flare. They'll like play after the main. They'll play after their main phase. So that's something you have to keep important. Like just making sure which inherit when you have in the source, which one you have out. But this is by far the MVP of the deck outside of Examon himself. And then the man himself, the myth, the legend, Examon. You have to run 4 copies of it. This is the most expensive card in the deck, but it's the most necessary card in the deck. The deck does not work without Examon. It's basically the main focus. Some people may say, oh, you only need 3. I beg to differ. I played against Hina Lynx, D-Brigade multiple times, and any source of black deck, they will de-digivolve you. That's their main shtick. They will de-digivolve you and turn you either back into a ground Jamon, wing Jamon, or your level 6. And having an extra copy of Examon, you need to see this as early as possible, so progress with your level 5s. But Examon himself, if they de-digivolve it, boom, you got 3 left in your deck. And it's just more pressure, more pressure, more pressure. If you have 2 Examons out, you most likely won the game because his ability to play out basically most of your Dramons in your deck is so good, and the fact that they overlap. So if you put 2 Slayers underneath Examon, you just gain more effects. So you definitely need to run 4 copies of Examon. It's like literally the life and blood of the deck. Without it, you're basically struggling to push along. And then for consistency, we're playing 4 Davis. I mean, not 4, but 3 Davis. This is basically the consistency of the deck. It grabs so much. It grabs your whole deck, basically. It'll grab blue, it'll grab green. You reveal Examon, boom, that's your green target, that's your blue target. You'll pick up this. It's like the best. It's the best of both worlds. So, like, just having both Davis and that, you need to see this as early as possible. But if it gets checked out of security, boom, you get potentially a +2 off it, and it's so good. We're running 2 blue memory boosts because, well, if you're bricking on your eggs, you need to be able to like search them out. This also finds Examon, since Examon's half blue, and most of your good cards are blue. So this is by far the most redundant card. I'd rather play a Dracomon other than blue memory boost, but the extra memory that comes from our security, as well as like the dig that I need, is necessary. So just be careful. Do not use this when you're bricking on green. You will bomb deck your green cards, but if you're missing a blue piece, just throw this down and get it. We're running 1 copy of Ice Wall. Now, Ice Wall has a very unique synergy with the deck. If you suspend Slayer Dramon, if you suspend Digimon with Slayer Dramon's effect while under Ice Wall and they're forced to attack, boom, your opponent automatically loses 2 memory. And if they're at 3, now they're at 1. If they was at 2, now they're at 0. If they're at 1, it's your turn now. So this is a very cheeky play. Knowing when to slam down Ice Wall can make or break your opponent. So this is I wish it was at 2, but I know for a reason why it's at 1. Lastly, we're playing 2 removal cards. We're playing 1 Mega Death. You're running blue-green like Imperial. This is just textbook. It's just really good, easy removal. And surprisingly, I'm playing 1 Giga Death. At first, I was like, when I was playing against Bloom, they basically took a game off me because I couldn't deal with wide boards. And like when Bloom Lord checked a Mega Death in security, I didn't want to bounce this back to their hand because they had a suspended level 5 they could have just gone into. So I realized, how can I deal with the board sufficiently? And DefX didn't really seem like the right answer to me because I didn't want to brick more. So Giga Death felt like the right answer. Out of security or suspend and bomb deck in your hand, even though it's for 9. Being able to put back 10 suspended Digimon to the bottom of your opponent's deck is so good. If Melga checks it, it'll go to the bottom. You don't have to worry about it. If you're using it from your hand against a Blue Lord and they got a wide board, boom, their whole board's gone. And it's just a good ass card that I really value now. But that's pretty much the deck profile. I took first place at locals against the B4G tournament and our local Digimon community. But this is the deck I ran, just straight gas.
Nice, yeah, and it definitely, even from the deck tech alone, I could tell the consistency goes crazy. And it seems like due to being able to force your opponent to swing and everything, this might actually be a really good answer against Black War Gray X in the next format. So how do you see Examon changing and everything for that for next format? What do you think its other matchups are going to start to look like?
The worst decks for Examon to play against is blue and green decks. You can dodge deletion by battle. You can dodge deletion by like purple, black, and red. But blue bouncing into your hand or deck, you can't get around that. That sucks. Against Black War Gray, for instance, if you get Slayer Dramon's effect active before Black War Gray sets up with an X antibody underneath, and you force their main stack to attack, it just lost that stack. They don't have battle protection. Melga's a different pitcher where it can protect itself, but if you time the suspension of their mons correctly, you can hinder some of their plays to kind of put it back in your ballpark. And this just felt like a good deck, a good D-stick. This is good against Grandis if you get the setup. This is good against Wargreymon X if you get set up. Any OTK deck from BT-9 will struggle a little bit against this deck because once you get a Slayer developed and Examon's on board, it's very sticky to get rid of sometimes without some type of removal option being like blue or green. So I feel like this deck can soar, and we might actually see a rise in both this and like big B-stack decks like Grandis.
Nice. How comfortable do you feel against the more bad matchups such as like Security Control and Blue Flare?
Against Blue Flare, I actually played against it. I lost, but I believe that's due to my piling of the deck. One way you play around it is do not play more than 2 Digimon at a time. So with Examon's effects, the secondary effect is optional. So if you do not want to play like a Slayer, a Break, a Blocker, or anything else, just keep it all in one stack, and you'll have so many Digivolution sources they can't really stun you other than going to Decker. And by the time they're trying to put up that big body, you can build up Erasing, and you can still activate your suspension effects even though you're stunned. So Examon can still like suspend things, unsuspend himself, and force other things in his sources. So it still has a good matchup against Blue Flare. You just gotta learn how to pilot and how good the matchup is. Against Setcon, I believe don't invest too much in the stack. Try to spread it out and do a great amount of chip damage, because one thing Setcon is good is wasting resources, and Examon being like 2 big mega stacks consumes a lot of resources.
Fair enough. Looks like you got the answers for it. So that was the Examon deck. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell us how you would pilot the deck and everything for next format, and we'll see you in the next video.